Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Doctor's Notes podcast by Doc's Castle Media, a podcast I created to share the notes of one of my favorite reality shows ever, Big Brother USA. I'm your host, Doc, and I'm here to talk BP perspective from Doc's point of view. So here we go. Well, today we're going to talk about the HOH competition and the nomination ceremony. boy. We start off the competition, competition. We start off the episode. We start off the episode with Cameron leaving the throne of HOH. He had a really crazy week last week, y'all. Like, he really had the house flip. It was successful. He actually targeted someone, and they actually left this week instead of them being saved and staying. Yay! Izzy is now gone, which means that one of Cirie's closest allies is out of the building, and it also means one of Jared's closest allies is out of the building. The strongest alliance that's in the house, or one of the strongest alliances, which I mean is Cirie and Jared, has got a heavy punch to the gut because Izzy was the only person in the house that actually knew their alliance, that they were family in the house. So it could be a good thing that Izzy is gone right now, because there's no way that that information can be leaked now that Izzy's gone. But that was someone that they could confide in, someone that they were working with that was really a number for them, and someone that was a soldier for them, because Izzy was talking crazy last week, talking about if she even won the veto, she wouldn't even take herself off the block, and you see how she just left? That was crazy if she really did win and did that to herself. But she ain't win, so. But anyway, she was a ride or die, and now she's gone. But that blowout was crazy. Like, there was a complete blowout prior to her leaving the house hours ahead of time, I believe. Cirie was feeling, a little uneasy in the house. So because Cirie was feeling uneasy in the house, she sends her son to figure out what's going on inside the Big Brother house. Like, why is everybody starting to act weird? It's this one thing that always happens when someone's about to leave the house. They start treating that particular person, ostracizing them from the crowd, kind of just treating them like they're the oddball. And I'm assuming that because Cirie and Felicia and whoever was working with Izzy at the time, they were all kind of maybe being ostracized from the opposite side of the house because they felt that they were being played. So anyway, we didn't see any of that in the live eviction episode. We see that in this episode, how everything plays out, and it was just wild and crazy, I'm telling you. So basically, it was a Corey and Jared altercation bond, where Jared went to Matt stating that Jag came to him the night before, saying that Jag went to him last night, saying that the vote was to keep Felicia into the house. Basically, Jared had this idea that he could kind of get some information out of someone by presenting a lie. That move caused confusion with Matt, so he drops hints of the truth, basically giving out the information or seeping out information that the house was possibly flipping on Izzy and not keeping Izzy in the house. Jared wants Izzy to stay, but that is not happening now that Corey was led on with all of that information last week from America about Cirie playing in the invincibility competition with Matt and Jag and him. It's just so many layers, reasons that people are now like turning on each other. Like, it's so many secrets revealing themselves. So the question came about, like, Felicia, she has the votes, yeah. Matt tells Jared and him and Corey they need to talk about what was going on, because it just started getting some confusion, because Jared was trying to understand, like, how did the vote switch with the little bit of information that Matt just gave him. He hinted out Corey. Oh, Jared gets mad with the whole Corey information, because now he's saying that, Corey supposed to be one of his final twos. So if he can get this information that, Corey is leaking out information, that's no longer a final two with Corey. He can't trust him. That's the things that Jared is thinking. Either way, they were all brought into the room, and basically Matt tells Jared and him and Corey, they need to talk about what the for real alliance and the 7 deadly sins alliance basically thing, like what that was. These two alliances that weren't supposed to be revealed to each other was basically revealed in this argument. Which one was the real alliance? Obviously, none of them were the real alliance because no one seems to be loyal to either one, or it seems like they just kicking out someone from each one or whatever. But we're trying to figure out which one was the real alliance. Apparently, Corey was in the for real alliance, while Jag and Matt were in the 7 deadly sins alliance. Corey's dropping the information about the for real alliance, and Jared is upset or playing like he pleading the fifth, or he not really knowing any information. It's just trying to act like he don't know about the for real alliance, which he is a part of. But either way, he's caught up in the fact that he was lying to kind of get some information out of Matt, or just to try to get information out of anyone to reveal that the house was flipping to vote out Izzy. It just looked so crazy because Jared really thought that he was really doing something that could be slick, get some information, but it turned out being a big giant blowout because it was like a semi-house meeting that turned up about trying to figure out which alliance was real. And it was all in the have-not room. It was Corey, Matt, Jared, and Bowie, Jane, and then they later brought in Jag and Cirie to try to solidify if someone who was telling a lie and who was telling the truth. It probably could have been like they might as well just would have been in like some type of courtroom, because the way that Corey was laying out questions about which alliance could have been real, and he pointing out how Jared is lying by pointing out the fact that he's raising his voice or he's trying to lower his tone. Basically, the nonverbals explaining how they are arguing to each other, and it's just like Jared just wasn't looking good. He was not looking good. He was being pointed out that he was a liar in front of everybody. And that's not good to be pointed out or be known as a liar in a house full of people in this game. And the end of it all, we were really just trying to see if Jag was the one that came to Matt about the information about flipping the vote. So when Jag came into the meeting, Jag denied all allegations that was told to Matt and Corey about the vote flip, period. He did not come about saying any of that information, revealing that Jared lied to begin with. So it wasn't looking good for Jared prior to the HOH competition, because Jared I don't even know why he even came like that. It's other ways, it's other ways to get information. And I guess his way of getting information was trying to go to Matt, somebody that he felt, I guess, was the least threat, or out of everyone, to kind of get some information about. He thought that he could get some information out of Matt. And he did. He literally did get information out of Matt. Matt dropped a little bit of hints because Matt really, I think he trusts Cirie and Jared still, even though he knows about the 7 deadly sins and lines being blown up. He still has some type of trust for Cirie and Jared. So he leaked some information, and now it's just been a big giant blowout. And then we're headed to the HOH competition, basically. We left the eviction episode with them being on the wall. This is the infamous wall competition where they just, you stand on a wall and you just try not to be the first one to fall. And apparently the theme is from the comic verse, and we are trying to stay on the wall and be hit by meatballs from Josh, who was from a previous Big Brother season, which I can't think what season it was right now. I think it was either like 20 or 21. But he was the Big Brother winner, and he was the host of the HOH competition. And we're starting off the competition in some tension, for real. No one is trying to throw this competition. Everybody is trying to get the HOH win. Except for Cam, because Cam is the one that's leaving. He is the one that is should be worried and sweating about what's going to happen. But, surprisingly, Cam is not sweating. Cameron is not sweating at all about what's going on. He might be a little bit, but you know, hearing the blowout that happened prior to the eviction night, I think he's assuming that there is possibility that someone else is going to be on the block. So Cameron is he's sitting fine right now. Not sitting pretty, but he's content. So if everybody is gunning for the competition, we know for a fact that Cirie is definitely gunning for the competition because of the big blowout. He sees that Jared is not trustworthy at all from the debacle that happened in the HOH room. And after that, Cirie also sees that she is not safe after all of that because everyone is mad at Jared for the lie. And she is sitting in the room trying to defend him, trying to defend alliances and everything. They know that everyone is working with her. So it's just not looking good for Jared and Cirie after that argument. And it's imperative that one of them win the HOH competition. Womp womp. Cirie falls off the wall first. So she only lasted like 9 minutes on the wall. And basically, she wasn't going to win the competition for them, which sucks. It all depended upon Jared at that point, who's trying to win the competition on their behalf. Out of the two of them. And maybe Blue, because Blue is in love with Jared, trying to be his girlfriend in the house and whatnot. But it's mainly Cirie and Jared's game on that side of the house. Everyone needs to win, though. Everyone is gunning. But the only person that I'm really paying attention to while I'm watching the competition is Cirie. Because after that big old blowout, I want Cirie to win. I'm actually ready to see what Corey's position is and see America's position and them actually make moves. Because they have been talking for a while about what they're going to do in the game. And it really hasn't happened yet. So I just want to see if Cirie will win. But, of course, Cirie did not win. Cirie falls off after being on there for 28 minutes. He wasn't the third person off, you know, at least, or, you know, he made it a little bit further, and at least he stayed longer than America. But it was just the final three that were left on the wall was Jared, Blue, and Bowie Jane. I found myself voting for Bowie Jane. I'm voting for Bowie Jane anyway because I've been rooting for her to have diary room sessions so I can see what she even thinking about when it comes to this game. But Bowie Jane, she gave it her all and lost. Bowie Jane, I think she fell off probably just seconds after Blue, because Blue fell first, then it was her, and then it was Jared. Yeah. Blue, I had a prediction that Blue would kind of last this long on this competition, and I have predictions about like the smallest people staying on the wall competition the longest because they weigh the less, so they can just hold themselves up longer. Blue was one of my predictions of the small people, you know, staying up there. I also thought that America would stay up there a little longer, but I feel like America literally slipped, for real. Out of the small people, you know, Blue stayed the longest, and kudos to her, but she didn't stay long enough. Her boyfriend won, though, so she's pretty safe. After the HOH win, Cirie and Jared, they celebrate the win of the HOH room and try to decide who's going to be the target for this week. Cam definitely is the target in the eyes of Jared because last week he got rid of Izzy. And Cirie is down for that. So they just need to know how they can get Cameron out. Cameron, he didn't even do a backdoor. He literally put up two people that aren't really strong enough to take themselves off the block. They stayed up there, and Izzy, being a strong social player, got voted out. She was stronger than Felicia. But for this week, if they really try and get out Cam, you can't put Cam on the block. Like, you got to backdoor Cam because he has the possibility of winning the veto. And that's what they're talking about in the HOH room together. Cirie and Jared know that they have to backdoor him. They can't give him no opportunity to win anything. So they have to decide who would be on the block before him. After the blowout, Jared has no hesitation, and he knows who he's going to put on the block. He tells him, I'm going to put America and Corey on the block. And then, if one of them was to come down, you put Cameron on the block. But I don't want to, gloss over the fact that, Cameron did come to Jared to have a talk with him prior to the nomination ceremony, because Jared did put Corey and America on the block. And I think it is a good idea to backdoor Cameron. But Cam comes to Jared prior to the nomination ceremony, and he gives him a week deal. Cam has been playing this game week by week, just like Cirie. I don't know what's wrong with Jared. Jared is not making a week by week type of gameplay. He's just going in line. He's just lying. What does the lies got to do with anything in this game to try to get information, or just lie? He just plant lies. But Cameron came up to him with a week deal, basically saying if Jared doesn't put Cam on the block this week, he would keep Blue and him safe next week if he was to win HOH. Which is a good deal. And something for Jared to consider if he really wants to work with Cameron. It's only a week deal. It's not a whole game deal. And he has to think about his position and everybody else inside of the house. Maybe it's best to actually get Corey and America out prior to Cameron at the time, because of how infuriated they are with Jared at the moment. Cameron is giving a facade that he's not even mad at Jared. So it could basically make Jared feel a little bit more comfortable with the idea of going with Cam's deal. So I don't know. It looks like Jared is considering it, but it would be smart for him to not, because Cameron is a strong player, and if he takes the deal, Cameron is showing that he could be a stronger, very strong social game player. Not only is he a threat physically, but with these week-to-week deals, Cam definitely is showing that he's a strong social game player. So now, let's discuss the alliance breakdown. So everybody can be clear if we even have alliances now, if there is just the breakdowns of two people being cool with each other now instead of there being alliances, because honestly, I don't think there is anymore. There's been so many blow-ups, and especially with that conversation that they had in the Have It Not room in this episode, with Cirie even naming majority of the alliances that she's in, it's revealing the secrets that certain people had or entwined with each other. I don't think there is an alliance anymore. We see that the 7 Deadly Sins was blown up. That was blown up this week. And the For Real alliance has been blown up in the Have Not room when they had their meeting. So those two alliances don't even exist. The alliance that I feel like exists at the moment would be in the hands of Corey, because Corey went and rallied up troops to vote out Izzy. But is it an alliance? I don't think so. I think it's just literally people just rallying up to vote. It's not truly an alliance. So, we stick to the two peoples. It's Corey, America, Cirie, and Jared, Matt and Jag. Cam is on an island alone. Bowie J is on an island alone. Mimi is on an island alone. Everybody else is singular. Like, Felicia thinks she's working with Jared or whatever, and she thinks she's working with Cirie. So that's her final twos. And it's just, there isn't any more big alliances anymore, which brings the game down to probably more manageable and more enjoyable to watch, because now I get to see everybody create dynamics of who they're going to work with, maybe now on a week-to-week basis instead of trying to go with the house. But who knows for sure, because at the end of the day, it seems like they still want to vote unanimously. that's why I'm just glad that this week is going to be a double eviction week. This week, and the double eviction, it doesn't always seem like there is like a unanimous votes when it comes to like the live eviction part. The live competition, when they do the second eviction all completely live, it doesn't seem like it's a unanimous vote when it comes to them, because they barely have time to even discuss the votes prior to voting someone out. So it's just a better episode and a better way of playing a game when you have it sped up that fast. So I'm eager to see the double eviction on Thursday. But where everyone stands, it just seems like there are just small alliances now. Now I want to talk about who I think is the MVP player of the episode. The MVP player of this episode, to me, is Cameron. It definitely ain't no Jared. Jared was messy. The move that he made with the lie was messy as I don't know what. So he is, if I could just say, the worst player of the episode. He was the worst. He made the worst decision in the episode, and I was sad. But Cameron got MVP player of the episode because he's a lone wolf in this game, and he is still making deals to fight for his life that leave people considering taking the bait. Like, Jared literally looked in this episode like he was ready to take the bait from Cameron. He dumb. Like, that's stupid. Your mans is gone last week because of Cameron. But literally, I think because of the blow up with Corey, he is so focused or so angry at Corey right now, he might not even be thinking that Cameron could turn on him. Like, Cameron isn't showing that he's upset. He's showing that he's willing to work with them. And he's just like, you see how these people in this house are snakes. You know, that's how Cameron is walking around, like, you see how these people in this house is a snake, I can work with you type stuff. Nah, Jared's stupid if he take that deal. But either way, it makes Cameron the MVP player of the game for him to be working alone and still just throwing out the weak deals. There are so many benefits for it. I think more people need to do it. Maybe Jared will be convinced to start doing week-to-week deals just because he's been brought a deal from Cameron as an example. But let me wrap up this episode. We wrap up the episode with the nominations being Corey in America and the target being Cameron as the backdoor option for Jared. I don't have any Twitter updates this episode because there's been a lot going on. I haven't really been paying attention to my Twitter this week. So, and Big Brother has been all over the place. Like, it was late on Sunday night, so I'm not really paying attention to the updates. No Twitter updates for me to talk about. I said that there is a double eviction on Thursday, so that's the one thing that I'm really focused on. So on this episode, we discussed about the fallout with Jared and Corey and the big blowout in the have-not room that has gotten Cirie and Jared looking really bad. We discussed the different alliances being blown up. We discussed the HOH competition, and we discussed Jared winning. And we discussed Jared talking to Cameron and his mom about what he thinks should happen or who should be put on the block. We see that it's Corey in America, and it's a possibility of a backdoor of Cameron. We talked about the MVP player. The MVP player is Cameron because he a lone wolf still making deals out this mother, you know. But that's it. That's our episode, and we'll tune in next time for the veto competition recap, and we will see if anyone has won and taken themselves off the block. Until next time, peace out. Thank you so much for tuning into the Doctor's Notes podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and if you found value in what you heard today, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. For more updates and Doc's Castle content, follow me on my social media. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Doc's Castle. If you have any questions, suggestions, or topics that you'd like to cover in future episodes, feel free to reach out to me via email at docscastlemediainfo@gmail.com. Remember, your support means the world to me, and I'm grateful to have you as a listener. But until next time, peace out.